Hey, are you looking to transfer colleges and wondering what are some of the biggest pitfalls that you should be avoiding? If so, in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. My name is Brooke. I'm an independent college consultant. I've been doing this for over a decade and a half. If you are trying to transfer or even just get into college, be sure to check out our online courses for the SAT and the ACT. I've coached students one-on-one to perfect scores on both exams. You can check that out at SupertutorTV.com. I also have a couple of books for the ACT math section at Amazon.com. And we have private tutoring options, not only with me, but with staff tutors. So check out SupertutorTV.com/tutoring if you're looking for some help in this process. And we have a lot of free resources you can plug into right here on YouTube. You can subscribe. We've also got a TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and a totally free mailing list, SupertutorTV.com/subscribe. As always, if you want to read instead of watch, link in the comments to the blog. Let's get started. Number one mistake that my transfer applicants I'm working with are making is that they lead with their weaknesses in their essays. What do I mean by that? Well, let's just think about why people transfer colleges, right? And I know almost every college and university has this essay that's like, why do you want to transfer? There are parts of your story, likely, that colleges might not want to hear, okay? Colleges expect you to put your best foot forward, but what I get with transfer applicants, because inevitably, one of the big reasons they want to transfer is something along the lines of they failed the first time around a little bit, or they didn't get into the kind of colleges that they wanted to get into, and they want to move up the rankings in some way. So what ends up happening is almost, 80% of the students that I have transferring have some part to their story that isn't very pretty. Now, it's true that sometimes talking about failure and showing your grit and overcoming challenges can make for a great story. But when that failure is straight up academic failure or mental health issues that led to academic failure, that can be kind of scary ground to tread in. And you want to be really careful about overemphasizing the negative on a transfer application. I don't want to think that like, oh, I failed the first time I tried to get into college, so here I am again, right? Like, that's not a great story. So you've got to shape a great story about you and how you are wanting to expand your opportunities. Opportunity. That should be your focus, guys. I need more opportunity than I've got right now. Not I screwed up and failed. Here I am again. I didn't change anything else, by the way. That's like the worst transfer application essay that I can look at. So don't be that person. Be honest on your college application, absolutely. But in no world do you have to leave with your faults. Think of this like a job interview. At a job interview, do you walk in the door and immediately say, hey, I got fired from my last job. Let me tell you why. Is that a good sales pitch for you? No, it is not. So don't do it on your application just because they want to know your story. Don't share everything. Share the parts that paint you in a positive light. And spin that negative. If you feel like you have to disclose something, disclose it, but spin it. End on a positive note. Be vulnerable. This doesn't mean be squeaky clean and never have any mistakes and have no, logic behind what you're talking about. But shine it up. Don't be too negative, and be careful when discussing failure. Cool. The second mistake that a lot of my students make when they're transferring is they focus on ranking over fit. Whenever you're trying to apply as a transfer, you've got a little bit of a different game to play than you do if you're applying as a freshman. And I get it. A lot of you are miffed. You didn't get into the college that's ranked where you want to be ranked, and you're at some college that isn't ranked as well, and now you want to climb those ranks. No one wants to hear that, first of all. Nobody wants to hear, I want to go to your school because it's ranked better, right? We all know that's awkward, I hope. Yes? So you've got to figure out in your story why this isn't just about ranking. I also very strongly believe that transferring shouldn't just be about ranking. It should also be about fit. And the part of your story that I really want you to tell in your transfer application is the fit part. And if there is no fit part, scratch your head and ask yourself, why do you really need to transfer? Fit needs to be a part of the equation when it comes to finding a good school to transfer to. You need to find a college that's a better fit than the one you are at right now. Now, there's obviously a natural fit for anybody who goes to a community college because you can't get a 4-year degree at a community college. So you've got to get out of there after 2 years. Fine. That's an easy story when it comes to fit. But anybody who's going from a 4-year institution to another 4-year institution, I really do want you to focus on why it's a good fit. What does it mean to focus on fit? Okay, story time. I once had an international student. He had attended boarding school in the United States, but was an international student. He was trying to transfer from the University of Michigan's engineering program to Cornell's engineering program. Now, I think the real reason why he wanted to do that is that his parents were obsessed with the Ivy Leagues. To me, as a college consultant, I was flummoxed because the University of Michigan's engineering program is ranked, hey, 6th or 7th, and Cornell's is ranked maybe 12th. I was like, you're going to a better ranked engineering program than Cornell's. There is not an obvious reason why you want to transfer. Now, what could be a good fit story if you were trying to go from Michigan engineering to Cornell? Well, one, it could be, I don't really feel like I fit in on Michigan's campus. It's really big. It's this giant public university. I want a more nurturing environment. I want sort of the smaller campus feel. Maybe the student has visited, maybe he has friends there or cousins there who have informed this thought on why it's a better culture. Maybe you could focus on the culture. Or better yet, maybe there's a really niche-y kind of engineering program that Cornell has. Maybe it has a particular track of classes within engineering that Michigan doesn't. And maybe that's exactly what this kid wants to do. Or maybe there's a particular researcher at Cornell or 3 researchers at Cornell that are doing the kind of work that you want to do. And there are 0 at Michigan. Those kind of reasons, those fit reasons, are going to help you way more than just telling some general application thing and like, oh, I decided I really want to go to Cornell and I didn't realize it until now, right? Okay, shoulder shrug. I need specific reasons why Cornell is a great fit for you over Michigan, if that's what you're telling me is your goal. When it comes to transferring into a university, especially a top-tier university, a lot of times these admissions offices are asking the question, if I admit this student, am I going to change the trajectory of his or her life? And if the answer is no, why would I let that student in when I could let somebody else in who I'm going to change their life? They're in community college. They're at some other college where their program doesn't match what they want to do with their lives. So you also have to understand the motivation of a lot of colleges is that they want to be game-changing colleges for you. So keep that in mind when you're applying and tell a story about how this school fits you. Now, fit can mean more than just academics. It could be personal. You know, I once had a student who wanted to transfer because he identified as LGBT and he didn't feel like that community was very welcoming where he was to his identity. He wanted to go to a school that he felt was a little bit more diverse and where there was more campus support for people like him. That can be fit too. But whatever the reason is, I want it to be more fit oriented than just like ranking oriented. Last point, the third biggest mistake that my transfer students make isn't necessarily about how you write your essays. It's about how you approach the entire process. One of the biggest mistakes that my transfer students make is you guys do not do enough research. You have to understand that transfer admissions are a totally different game than undergraduate admissions. And while undergraduate admissions policies tend to be more standardized from school to school, and the dates tend to be more standardized because all these schools are in consortiums, transfer admissions are a little bit more of a Wild West. Okay? Some transfer deadlines, for example, are in December 1st. Others are going to be in February or March. Right? Some might dovetail with the regular school admissions for freshmen. Others are going to be later. So make sure that you know the dates for every college and university that you want to apply to. Likewise, if you look up one school's policy on transfer admissions, those are not going to be the same policies at every school in terms of transfers. Transfer admission policies vary much more widely than undergraduate admissions policies. For example, at USC, you don't need to necessarily send your high school transcript in many cases. And that might not be the case at another college or university. Another point is make sure that you're giving yourself a decent chance of actually getting in as a transfer. COVID-19 is going to make transferring harder than ever because there's so many people who stopped out or took a gap year or 2 because their parents or they didn't want to pay for school online. But whatever your reason is for delaying your education, you need to do your research so that you know you have a shot at getting in. Please do not just file 5 transfer applications to 5 schools where they have a 1% or less chance of you getting in as a transfer, right? Schools like Stanford and Princeton, they don't have a lot of people dropping out. So there's not a lot of space for transfers. In order for you to transfer into a school, typically, for most colleges and universities, and this is not true everywhere, for example, UCs and USC reserve some spaces for transfer students within their programs. They design their program size to accommodate more transfers because that's part of their mission. But most colleges, they do not reserve space for transfers. The only way that you get in as a transfer is if other students drop out or leave, okay? And in that condition, it's a lot harder to get in, okay? So if you're just applying blindly and saying, oh yeah, I know these are exciting schools that are tough to get into, but I want to go there, and you don't look up their actual transfer admission rate, you might be wasting paper, and you might be better off, you know, focusing your efforts towards schools where you can actually get in. A few other notes on research. Non-traditional students, that means anybody who's taken a gap in their education, maybe people who've gone and joined the military, maybe you went to community college for a year or two, then you went to the military and now you're back and now you want to get a 4-year degree. If you're a non-traditional student and you want to apply to super competitive programs, be on the lookout for programs that are specialized for non-traditional students. Columbia, for example, has a School of General Studies that caters to students who are non-traditional. Yale also has a non-traditional students program called the E.Y. Whitney program. There are other colleges out there with non-traditional programs. But look into these non-traditional college programs if you are a non-traditional transfer student, okay? One other note on doing your research, some schools accept transfers if you've only had 1 semester so far when you're applying. Other schools require a certain number of credits completed before they allow you to even transfer in. There's also the possibility of spring admits for transfers, which is less common for freshmen. So that's also something you can check into. So just make sure whatever you do, guys, do your research. Another tool in the research toolbox that I like to use is called the Common Data Set. It's available for about 99% of them. In that 1% holdout, you might not find it like University of Chicago, but use that, do your research, know what you're getting into, and give yourself a good chance of getting in somewhere cool. So that's all I've got for this video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thumbs up if you did. Good luck with your transfer applications, and I hope you guys stay safe. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.